welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Sam Menzie, and we've got a show for you today. First topic we're going over is the Braves and their recent roster shakeup, analyzing the moves they made and going over the impact it will have on their team. After that, we'll be going over two segments I'm going to call To Trade or Not to Trade, Mason Miller and Tarek Skubal, if the A's and Tigers should trade those respective players. Then after that, doing some Rookie of the Year predictions, and then going over the 2025 Hall of Fame class and just previewing who's available to go into the Hall of Fame and if I think they should. But before we do all that, I'd like to ask you to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure this question does get read in the air, please use the link at gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show. It really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get into the show for today. All right, so of course the first topic I want to be talking about here is going to be the Braves and their recent roster shakeup. They made a few notable roster moves that I did want to talk about, so let's get over that. So, first off, it was announced over the weekend that Ozzie Albies would be placed on the 10-day IL with a left wrist fracture, which will cause him to be out for 8 weeks, which is obviously a significant blow. I mean, 8 weeks is a significant amount of time. I mean, that's 2 months. That's also, I'm pretty sure that's not even factoring rehab and all that. So, it doesn't seem like Albies will be back anytime soon, and I think it is a question at this point if he is going to be back until the playoffs. Obviously, we're assuming the Braves will make it. I would be shocked if they don't, so obviously, I'm assuming that he is going to be a factor there. But 8 weeks is a significant amount of time, especially for this Braves team that has already had so many injuries. Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna Jr., both were out at the start of the year for the rest of the year, and now adding into Albies, that really is significant. So, the impact this is going to have on this Braves team is obviously, I'd say, pretty large. Their offense has already been a little inconsistent this year with just guys simply not performing up to the standards they would like to, including Albies himself, who only sports a 100 WRC+, which, yes, is exactly the average, which is fine, but for a player of Albies caliber, it's really not what you want. And also, players from an underperforming under offense, and with Acuna out, you have to have guys like this step up and play better, and Albies just simply hasn't. So it is a significant blow, even though he hasn't played, I'd say, the greatest second base this year. He still is a very good defender, leader in that clubhouse, still is a guy with name pedigree, so people know how to pitch to him, pitch around him, all that kind of stuff. So I do think it is a significant blow, and it's not like the Braves have the greatest depth as well. Orlando Arcia is over there to the left of him at shortstop, and he's also had a pretty awful season. I mean, his hitting stats are really something to not be fond of if you're a Braves fan. So losing your second baseman, who again wasn't having the greatest season, but still is, someone who's very consistent at that position, who's very solid, who has a name value, is a significant blow, and is something that they're going to have to deal with for the rest of the season. I mean, a left wrist fracture is something that you also have to deal with, I'd say, when you come back from injury as well. It's something that you're going to have to look at and say, this is something that could linger for the rest of the season. So it is something that the Braves are going to have to monitor with Albies, I'd say, for a little while now as well. So 8 weeks, again, significant amount of time. We don't know how much the rehab is going to be. He's definitely going to have to go to the minor leagues and rehab it at some point. So it is something that we're really going to have to watch. Now, in light of that move, the Braves did make 2 other roster moves to kind of combat that. So we'll be going over those. So the first one is they called up one of their top hitting prospects, maybe their top hitting prospect, Nacho Alvarez Jr., a 21-year-old shortstop at AAA. Now, Nacho has been someone that I've seen a lot of Braves fans clamoring over the past few weeks to be able to be called up and really help out this team. This before Albies got hurt as well. I think this is really because of, again, the underperformance that Orlando Arcia has played with this year, and calling up one of your top younger shortstop prospects you better help out your team, I think would be something very nice, and I think a lot of Braves fans are really, again, hoping for him. And they now get him. Obviously, I don't think this is the circumstance they wanted him under, because obviously Ozzie Albies is hurt. But still, being able to get reinforcements, I'd say, is very good. So Alvarez, again, 21-year-old right-handed shortstop, 5'11", 190. Pretty good frame for a shortstop. I'd say plays a pretty decent shortstop out there. Obviously, he's going to be most likely playing second base at the MLB level, but in the future, I'd say he is going to be the Braves guy at shortstop, assuming everything goes well. So his glove isn't exactly the greatest, but it's also not bad. I'd say he's probably going to be a league average shortstop over there, which is fine. And looking at his AAA stats, I mean, really, this is why you call him up for that bat. He's hitting .336 in AAA, has an on-base percentage of .432, and then an OPS of 1.007, which is obviously incredible. Looking at that as well, I mean, he's played 28 games in AAA, so it's not exactly like it's a little sample size. No, it's a pretty significant amount. And obviously he played in AA before this, but still playing almost 30 games there. being in a significant stride there, I'd say is a pretty good thing and shows a lot of potential for this bat. So calling up Alvarez, I think, is a good idea. I really think that this Braves team, especially now with the Albies injury, needs a little bit of a boost. And calling up one of your younger players who has a lot of potential, fans have been clamoring for, fans have been wanting for a little while now, is a very good idea. It gets some hope within your team. It gets some excitement within the fan base and within the clubhouse as well. Whenever a team calls up a top prospect, a guy who can really help out the team, whether it's a trade or in this case a call-up, fans and players are very excited. It makes them think, okay, they think we're good. They know we're good. They're putting reinforcements in this team, and that's a good thing. So, yeah, Alvarez, 21, is a little young, but Braves have been very successful in eagerly calling up prospects in the past. Called up Vaughn Grissom, called up Michael Harris. Of course, Michael Harris has done pretty well in his MLB career, even though he's been up and down. And Vaughn Grissom hasn't done the greatest, but at the same time was able to be traded for Chris Sale, who is now a Cy Young contender. So there is still some good within that. So calling up Alvarez, again, I think is a very good move. I think he should be able to help out a lot within this Braves lineup. Not sure where he'll bat, but again, playing him at second base, I'm sure it'll be a fine way to switch him over. I don't think there's going to be any way for him to really, not be great at that position. I think it's going to be a pretty seamless change over there. So I like this move a lot for the Braves. I think Alvarez has a lot of potential within his future, and I think is a very good bat. And also, let's talk about the obvious here. Having a name like Nacho is awesome. I mean, if he's a very good player, which obviously the Braves and the Braves fans are hoping for, there's so many marketing opportunities with Nacho. I mean, you could have a Nacho Alvarez helmet, like the Nacho helmet you have games. The local Nacho company, I'm sure, will sponsor him. Like, there's so many great marketing opportunities to have a good player named Nacho on your team. We have to talk about that, right? I mean, we can't ignore that his name's Nacho, which is awesome, by the way. So, yeah. But overall, baseball-wise, I think it's a very good move. I think it provides a little bit of a spark within this Braves lineup that definitely hasn't been as great as you would like it to be this year. And again, Acuna's been out for a little while. There's really no excuses for guys consistently underperform like they have this year. I mean, Sean Murphy, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, guys aren't having horrible seasons, but definitely not playing up to the standards that you would expect from this Braves team. They have some question marks in the outfield because of the Acuna injury. Be interesting to see if they add. So overall, will be very, very interesting to end up watching this Braves team, how Nacho does perform, and how he does help this team. Finally, the Braves did end up signing also Whit Merrifield, formerly of the Philadelphia Phillies. Did get DFA'd a few weeks ago from this team after a lackluster performance after signing a one-year deal with this Phillies team. But now, of course, signs with Atlanta from Philadelphia as they need some infield depth, and of course Merrifield can help out with that and is a very good player. Actually, some kind of breaking news here. Just going to talk about it. James Paxton has been DFA'd by the Dodgers. Not really something I was expecting. Didn't really think he would be DFA'd. I think he's had not a horrible season by them, but I think we'll talk about that more in the future. But that's something I just saw, so I wanted to bring up. But anyways, going back to Merrifield, I think Merrifield, even though he has had his shortcomings this year with this Phillies team, didn't play the greatest. I think he provides very, very solid depth with this Braves team. Can play really any position on the field, of course, mainly as a second baseman. So assuming Nacho doesn't play the greatest, you have a good backup contingency plan in the veteran in Merrifield. Braves gotten very good performances out of veterans in the past, and I don't think Merrifield should be any different. And I think he might have a chip on his shoulder now, looking for something to prove after being DFA'd by this Phillies team that in all likelihood, is a World Series contender. I think being DFA'd by a team like that does put a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, making it, trying to prove them, especially now going in the division as well, saying, I still got it, I'm still that guy. So it is very interesting to end up seeing. But overall, I think he's a very good depth move. Again, good second base plan. If Nacho fails, can play shortstop as well. Can move Nacho over to shortstop if you finally want to do cutoff Orlando Arcia with how he's played this year. Also, again, can play the outfield. I'm sure can play left, can play center, can play right at high capacity. Is a super utility guy. That's where his value comes from. Can play their base as well. So I think Whit just overall is an above average bench player. Can be a guy that fills in when someone's hurt, when someone needs a day off in the lineup as well. So overall, it's just a very solid move for this Braves team that I think, again, needs to have a little bit of a spark in their lineup. And calling up one of their top prospects in Alvarez, signing Merrifield after the Ozzie Albies injury is a good idea of showing people that we're not giving up. We're going to be able to continue to compete and be a good team this year. So yeah. I like this move a lot, and just going over this Braves team again, I think they're very good. It's just I don't see a way for them to win the NL East. I'd be shocked if they're not the 4 seed in the NL. And yeah, I think that's really what's going to happen with them this year. Going to be the top wild card seed. I don't really think there's a chance for them to win the division with how well the Phillies have been playing with all the injury that they've had. So it'll be very interesting to watch the rest of the year. And yeah, so that is it for our first segment here, talking about the Braves and their roster shakeup. Moving into our second segment, which is going to be talking about Mason Miller of the A's. And this is what I'm going to be calling something. Mason Miller, to trade or to not trade. I'll be explaining more of what that means after the break, so if you want to watch, please stay tuned. And yeah, we'll be seeing you after the break, so thanks and bye.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign.